screen. We call this meeting to order. It's 11:04, the economic development. I think you want to take the roll call, please?
Commissioner Ware.
Present.
Commissioner Varga. Commissioner Palomera. Commissioner Baker McCormick.
Here.
Commissioner Badun.
Here.
Chair Anderson. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Anderson.
Here.
Chair Hattis.
Here.
You have a quorum present.
Thank you. Next item, please.
B, approval of the March 10th, 2020 meeting minutes.
Move approval.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those who agree signify by saying aye.
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 Oppose? Motion pass. Thank you. Next item.
I'm sorry, who approved?
Aye.
Aye. Anderson motioned and I second.
Okay, got you.
No, I'm sorry. Commissioner Ware moved and I second.
Got it. C, old business. There is none.
Okay, next item.
Item D1, under new business, discussion with the Economic Development Department about the actions it's taking regarding the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, I think we have Wafa with. Hello?
Hello.
Yes. Is Wafa the one gonna discuss that, or Mr. Rahal?
Well, Mr. Chair, I am here, but I think, you know, we've got Shannon and Wafa that are also on, and I think they've got a lot of good information to share with everyone. We just want everybody to know, obviously, you know, the pandemic has hit us in severe ways, and in more ways than other places, and we know what that means for our businesses. And so, you know, I don't think this is a secret. Our team has worked incredibly hard, and we've been very, very active on trying to provide businesses resources in many different forms to try to, you know, withstand any of the mitigating, you know, circumstances that we can provide for businesses. That includes loans, that includes grants, that includes helping them, advise them on saving of costs, and you know, including bringing in a hospital and doing all these other things that we can do. Shannon, are you on the call? Or
yes, I am.
Okay, great. I'll let Shannon take it over.
So thank you, Assistant County Executive Hall. We appreciate the time today. As Assistant County Executive mentioned, we were furloughed on March 13th, that Friday, and have never worked harder, really. We began our mission, if you will, the new mission, on Saturday, March 14th. This team has given blood, worked their hearts out to save our small businesses, and really has risen to the occasion. Very proud of them. And so I don't know if you can pull up the presentation that we sent over. Is that available to pull up? There we go. So really, this is County Executive's statement. You can go to the next slide, about a small business really being the backbone. And I think what really rings true about this is County Executive Evans is very unique to any elected official I've worked for before. Typically, the electeds really want all new business, job junkies, job creation. And that was really my charge in my other communities that I worked for. And it was really very refreshing 6 months ago when the new team was brought on board to have a leadership in the team that really focused on keeping our small businesses, growing them, keeping them happy, healthy, and here. So with that charge, you can go to the next slide, I charged the team with about 700 meetings within a fiscal year. Now, our business development manager territory, which you see in your packets and on the screen, has widened. I'm now wearing the hat of director as well as business development manager for the East Side. Wafa Donaro, who is our Brownfield manager, is also wearing a hat. the brownfield expert is now doing the brown lighted territory, as well as Anthony Cartwright, who is our deputy over real estate. So we've expanded our reach, so each community has a single point of contact, and we have made that very known to our chambers, and I'll show you some of our outreach moving forward. But we take this very seriously. We couldn't put on our office phones, of course, because we're not in the office. So we are readily available. The team has been working to triage small business and companies and organizations to get through this current crisis. So that is posted on our webpage. We have circulated that around to the chambers, to small businesses, to really make sure they know we're here to help. Next slide, please. So I think what's really unique is our team reflects the county through and through. The diversity of the county is reflected in the diversity of this team. So we're fortunate to have multilingual team members that can interpret into Spanish and Arabic. And so our first piece of collateral really was the TCF Wayne County microloan program. And so we distributed those in English, Spanish, and Arabic all throughout social media. And you all may have seen those already. So we think that's pretty unique to the county. Next slide, please. This is, back up one, please. So this is the Michigan Small Business Relief Grant. This is, I'll speak more about this, but it looks similar to the loan program, but it's very different. So we also deployed this in 3 different languages. And this is the small business grant that was up to $10,000 that we applied for jointly with DEGC, and that we were awarded the largest pot in the state of $1.6 million. But unique to us again, and this team, was we deployed these resources and collateral in 3 different languages, and we accepted the applications for these and interpreted those in 3 different languages. So this is the collateral that we've been busy working on as a team, and that has been deployed. Next slide. So here's more collateral. You'll see the COVID-19 resource financial resources, that was posted on our website, that was also distributed. You have those 5 buckets. It got very confusing to businesses with the PPP federal program under the CARES Act, with the emergency injury disaster loan, as we know, is EIDL through SBA, different program that was supposed to have a $10,000 3-day forgivable loan that was supposed to be a grant, which we heard a lot of people did not receive. You have the 2 buckets of the small business relief grant and loan, the collateral I showed you before. And then you have the, let me see that. So then you have the Wayne County TCF. So we put these in buckets, and the feedback on this was very positive, so people could kind of navigate what program went where. This, again, the second piece is another small business relief grant piece that we did. And then the third is the resources for small business that we put in the local, state, and federal buckets. And again, that third piece was done in Arabic, Spanish, and English. And that is also posted on the website. Next slide. And this is all done since March 14th. This is a map, a heat map, reflective of our microloan program with TCF. This is the $14 million bucket. Originally it was 10, and then commissioners approved the $2 million from the general fund to be matched with $2 million of TCFs. That made it $14 million. They have extended 144 offers. People have money in their hands. The average loan is about $20,000, and there's $3 million in approved loans so far. So this program has really met the need of the small businesses that need that $5,000 to $50,000, need it quick. A lot of these were turned around very quickly. There's personal contacts on the TCF page that has local offices throughout Wayne County. You're not just going on a website left to go nowhere, no one to contact. There's been very high touch, hands-on. They've executed beautifully. They've been a great partner. And this just kind of shows you where around the county that those microloans have come by zip code. And I think what's really also very interesting is we are working with DTE Energy to deploy this program through their client-facing team. So they have over 2,000 organizations, nonprofit, and the like that they work with. And they also are meeting, speaking to different groups all over, including the county. And so we are teaming up with them to help them and empower them to deploy this program as well. Next slide. So this has been a big, heavy lift for our team. We applied with DEGC for, it was a $10 million statewide grant program. Wayne County and DEGC applied jointly for $7 million. We were awarded 1.6. Cut that in half because Detroit DEGC is taking care of the Detroit folks, and then Wayne County is taking care of all the other 42 communities with that $800,000. So there were 3,280 total applications. We deployed the collateral via social media, all over with the chambers everywhere. It opened on April 1st. It closed on April 6th. There was an overwhelming amount, as you can imagine. This was a $10,000, up to $10,000 grant, 50 employees or less, and impacted by COVID-19, the governor's orders to shut down, the beauty salons, the bars, the restaurants, dry cleaners, all those kinds of businesses. So out of that universe of 3,280, there were 1,588 applications specific to Wayne County outside of Detroit. 1,400 approximately of those were businesses in Wayne County. There were a few stragglers that had applied that were outside the county. So what we had to do is our team was tasked with scoring those applications 3 times. So we deployed other community members to help us do that. So when you take that number times 3, it's about 4,700 applications. The team had to go through, it was put through the DEGC portal, thank goodness. Happy to report that there's 192 grants being awarded. 160,000 out of the 800,000 were allocated to $2,500 grants. And there were about 64 companies or awardees that fell in that range of $2,500. There were $640,000 allocated to the $5,000 grant. So 128 businesses are awarded $5,000 each. And then you can see it, we broke it down by minority. The award grantees were 63 businesses, women owned 88, and then veteran owned. And again, this was deployed within the DEGC portal. Our team was tasked with getting the scoring done and the review panel put together. I'm proud to say that the first checks were mailed April 17th. The next set of checks will be mailed April 24th, and so on until all of those are deployed. So this has been a monster. We're thrilled to have been able to do this for our companies, and it took every single one of the team members to make this happen. Next slide.
We have 2 questions, one from Commissioner Anderson, and then there's another, I'm not sure who it is.
Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Shannon, the chart indicates what I'm looking at anyway. It looks like it indicates just those that were grants, applications that were received by community, but I don't see a breakout of which ones were approved.
Yes, we can provide that for you. Our team, we have overtasked Luz Meza, and she is in the process of providing that, and we're happy to share that with you. The actual list of grantees, we do have that, and we're happy to share that with you.
Okay, I appreciate knowing how many grant applications, but I think a lot of us would like to see where those dollars went. That's
Sure, we're happy to share that. No problem.
all right. Thank you.
You bet you'll have that today.
Thank you.
You bet. Anybody else?
You mentioned there, Commissioner Anderson, and who's the second one?
Yes, there's no name on here. It's just a number. But I unmuted them if they wanted to speak.
Okay. Go ahead, please, if you listening. Any other question for Shannon or Khalil? We appreciate, Khalil, the work you and your staff do in the economic development. And as Glenn Anderson mentioned, we like to know the detail of the businesses who benefit out of this program. And what's the balance, how much money we have left in the program at the present time. I know that gonna change from day to day, but we'd like to know the size of the approved applicant, and
Right.
if there are many facing a problem for by not being approved. Because I have a customer who applied to their bank, and I told them the federal loan you could go to your bank, but for the county you have to go to the TCF. So not every bank process the county loan.
Right.
That
Right.
accurate?
So that's accurate. Yeah. I mean, depending on what program you're talking about. So in addition to the work that, you see on these two programs, right? Shannon showed you a list of all the kind of universe that exists in small business loan grant kind of stuff, whether it's the Paycheck Protection Program that you just mentioned, or the TCF program, or this grant program, or maybe the grant program at Tech Town. There are things that we are monitoring for our two programs, and then there's a lot of work that they are doing in coaching people and referring them and walking them through processes of the programs. The PPP program that you mentioned, we walk a lot of people through that. As you know, that program dried up, very, very quickly at the federal level. And so, there's no more loans available for the PPP program. There's another conversation happening in Washington right now. They may, re-up that program, so we'll have to wait and see. When it comes to the TCF program, as Shannon mentioned in the previous slide, there's been about $3 million that have been obligated. We know we have $10 million in the fund. We know it could go up to $14 million, and the deadline for the loan application is June 30th. So we're asking everybody to get back to your mayors and supervisors, get back to your business associations and your chambers, and let them know, this loan is still out there. There seems to be a good amount of demand for it. You have to go to TCF to get the loan. And if you have any questions, contact your business development manager, because there's still money in there. To this grant program, there is no money left. Shannon said that we received $1.6 million for the entire county. We applied for $7 million. Okay. Obviously, there's not the entire program for the entire state was only $10 million. We have written letters to the MEDC asking them for more money. People are going to be denied because there's just not enough money to go around for these kinds of programs. But like Shannon said, each application we received was scored 3 times. The applicants, or the scores for the applications came from local communities. They were sent to a board made up of somebody from the Conference of Western Wayne, somebody from downriver, somebody from Detroit in the county. And so we feel very good about the process. We don't feel great that, we had to say no to so many people. If we got 1,500 applications, whatever the exact number Shannon said, we could only award 190. And that's unfortunate because, you know, we would like to grant more. We had very good applications that did not get awarded. But if there is any good news, it's that the team has the people who did not get awarded. We certainly sent folks a list of services that exist, like Health Choice and other loan programs and other assistance that we could provide. And we've got business development managers deployed in different regions talking to mayors, supervisors, chambers, business associations, and all the like. I feel very, very strongly that the team has worked incredibly hard to provide as much resources as possible.
Mr. Rahal, what's really disappoints me is the federal government give Wayne County $10 million for the small business loan, and only Wayne County put around $15 million. The local put way more than the federal. It should be the other way around. But I like to, if anybody listening out there, to help us get the message out to the small business community. As June 30th, it's the deadline. If anybody didn't apply, you need to apply. And I just was watching the news a little while ago, and Senator Schumer, Democrat from New York, came on and he announced they reached agreement for the second help to be approved today. I think they're gonna vote on it today. So the important thing is for the small business to have their application in place. And even if you got rejected the first time or not been approved, so to have the application, I don't know if the application is still available or they have to reapply, but they need to communicate with their bank and try to apply again. And let's see what's come up. But as far as I heard today, is we still have some funding available in Wayne County. So I hope everybody would help us to get the message out to the small business community. I send message to all the mayor and township supervisor in my district, and they really getting help from the Chamber of Commerce all over the place. So I hope they really get the message out.
I think too, what the beauty is of the TCF Wayne County loan program is if a business has no relationship with TCF, they don't have to have a relationship with TCF to apply for the loan or to get the loan. And the beauty too is TCF is one of the top SBA providers, and they're also part of the PPP program. So TCF, if that $5,000 to $50,000 loan isn't the right product for them, they can bump them up to the Paycheck Protection Program. So that's what's really nice about TCF. They can handle both and they can bump them up. So I think one of the things that we had heard, people are so confused that they think some folks, think they go through the SBA for this and they don't. So that needs to be really clear. For the TCF loan program, for the PPP, it's directly with local banks. So
it's a good point.
Okay.
Any question on this subject for Mr. Rahal or Shannon?
Commissioner Haddis, this is Terry Marecki. I just had a question.
Commissioner Marecki.
Thank you. Shannon, I'm not on this committee, so I haven't seen all the background yet on this, but are these slides in the background for the commissioners, or can we get these
of course
to use?
We can.
I didn't know if they were in the packet or not.
They were distributed to the commissioners. We're happy to provide these to anybody. We'll send this to you, no problem. I'll have Kamal send it to you right now, no problem.
Okay, great, because we can use this on our Facebook pages and stuff.
Great, we love it.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Haddis.
You're welcome.
Through the chair. Sorry, through the chair, I can send it out to the other commissioners. All of the committee members have it, but I can send it out to everyone else.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
And
Thank
any
you.
questions, feel free to follow up. I'm happy, I'm available anytime to answer any questions on these slides. We'll distribute the actual awardee list. I know there was a few different businesses that we were waiting on documents from, but we'll provide that today to everyone as well.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, next slide.
One question to both of you. Is the $10 million from the federal for Wayne County, that include Detroit?
The 10 million was from the state, and that was for the whole state. And then out of that 10 million universe, we applied for 7 million. We got 1.6 million. And then we split that with Detroit because that was the partnership. We applied as co-applicants. We were awarded 1.6. And our agreement up front was that Wayne County, all the other 42 communities would get half, and then Detroit would get half. So 800,000 was our bucket that we depleted.
From the state?
From the state, yes.
So again, Wayne County put $15 million and the state put $800,000 for 42 communities. You know, there's something really, it bothered me in this area where we're supposed to have the bigger contribution from the state and federal. And now it's with the difficult economic situation the county, and we put $15 million and the state or the federal put together doesn't match that fund. I think we should be very proud of Wayne County and what we're doing too.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good team. Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair,
Yes.
I had my hand up, but I wanted to ask a follow-up question just to Shannon or Khalil. If you have can you put together a updated flyer or something that we can share with our local businesses, and that there's money still available, and the process once again, and who to contact, who their contact is with the EDC,
Sure.
And give us that updated in a flyer that we can distribute then.
Absolutely.
That's a very good point.
With the new deadlines and everything, or not the new ones, but the deadline. Thank you.
Yeah, good point, Commissioner. Thank you. Any other question?
Felicia had her hand raised.
Okay, because I can't see the picture of everybody, so you have to help me, assist me with that. Okay, Felicia?
Oh, I'm sorry. I lowered my hand. I had a technical question for clarification that I can ask offline regarding the grant and the Wayne County grant, or was it some type of CDE or EDC grant? Because we haven't received anything from the commission to approve if it was something Wayne County received. So just seeking clarification on when that'll be coming, if it was Wayne County, but I could talk to Khalil in the department about that offline if necessary.
Okay, that would be good. Khalil, you got that?
Yes, sir. We'll take care of it.
I'll reach out to Felicia about that.
Okay.
So I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, so one of the other Health Choice, staff worked with Health Choice to have them provide in this crisis some relief. So for Health Choice, the relief discount is approximately 20% for the first 2 months. That's to try to help get over these next 8 weeks. So we just wanted to show that collateral. That's a new piece that we did as well for the Wayne County Health Choice healthcare program. Next slide.
Yeah.
This was really fun. So the team, I tasked Kamal Al-Sawafi, who's on the line, Business Development Manager, with putting together a task force within the team to make sure that this webinar went off without a hitch. And so I'm going to let him talk about the successes of this and how it all came together, and the number of hits that we had and the feedback. So Kamal, you take it away.
Thank you, Shannon. So about a week ago, the Economic Development Department held a live business resource webinar moderated by Khalil Rahal. The simple idea for the event was to get as much information as possible in the hands of people and experts, because a lot of people had a lot of questions. We had a star-studded lineup. First, we had the Wayne County Executive, Warren Evans, who gave a great county update. and the president of TCF Bank, who described and answered questions related to the TCF Wayne County Business Relief Loan. Third, we had a star in the state of Michigan legislator, Abdullah Hammoud, who talked about the executive orders and what people should expect. Lastly, we had the most well-known congresswomen, Rashida Tlaib and Debbie Dingell, who described the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, and updates on upcoming legislation. We had a live questions and answers from the audience to our panelists, as well as our own team answering questions directly in the comments section, which I think was very, very helpful for people. We received a lot of positive feedback. We streamed it on 3 different platforms. We had over 19,000 views and still counting because it's still in the air right now. We wanted to bring resources to the people and bring the people to the resources, and I think we achieved that.
Great job. They did a great
Thank you.
job.
Thank you. Good job. Any other question from the commission? Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Khalil, and thank you, Shannon. And I'd like to thank the whole department.
Oh, we have a few more slides if we have time. Do we have time?
Yes, go ahead.
We can skip this. This is just some active projects that we have that, despite the COVID-19 crisis, we have active projects still in the market, still Aerotropolis, and these are some of them that are in your packet. We can talk more about if you're interested, but I want to get through these other slides and be conscious of everybody's time. So next slide. So here's just something that, a little piece of what we've been doing for the last 5 weeks. We have daily Zoom meetings, staff meetings. As I had previously shown, we have the multilingual collateral piece, and we're a very, very lean team. So to push this out took a lot of effort and dedication, candidly. The TCF Wayne County Loan Program will make sure we distribute that collateral again around, and note the June 30th deadline as requested. Back in a couple months ago, when I first came in front of you with Khalil and introduced the team, I had tasked the team with 700 business retention visits. COVID took a kind of a stop on that, or a slowdown, I'll say, because we're still doing them. We're just doing them virtually. But despite everything, we have had more than this. This is the minimum that we had. This is a number from a few weeks ago. 466 and 618 resources deployed. That's a much bigger number now, but that's what we have documented. We deployed the Small Business Loan and Grant Program, the Facebook Live event. We have a specific COVID-19 resource page on our economic development page. We have done Chamber of Commerce meetings. We did one that was throughout Wayne County. We brought all the chambers together on one call with Assistant County Executive Rahal and the team, making sure they knew who their resource person was, their business development manager, the programs we were having. We told them about the Facebook Live event so their businesses could tune in. We've had one-on-one meetings with the communities, with the stakeholders, with the businesses, and then we've really had an active social media campaign. I think most of you have probably seen it through LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And then we've implemented our own economic development Zoom account. We felt like it was really important to have those face-to-face meetings with the business community. And so we've done that. Next slide. So Wafa Donaro will take over this slide and share about the hospital, the update. Wafa.
Yep. So we, we came to you guys for approval on the CDBG money last week for the VIBRA hospital. The hospital has been receiving patients. They've received several patients, and they are ready to accept additional patients. They've reached out to the local hospitals, Beaumont, Henry Ford, DMC, and are asking for some of their overflow patients, and should be starting to receive some more COVID-19 patients in the next couple of days. So it's moving along. They're doing exactly what they said they're going to do, and we're right on schedule.
Wafa, can you share too the potential with absorbing maybe some of the Beaumont folks? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Beaumont announced today that they're going to be making some layoffs. We reached out to VIBRA. VIBRA is going to be setting up our IINN. They're going to be setting up a website. They already have a careers email address. So anybody who is losing their job at Beaumont can apply to work at the Lincoln Park Hospital. And we're going to be sharing it on our website, on our social media, just to make sure that people are aware and that they do know that they can apply at this Lincoln Park Hospital, especially once it's fully up and running.
Great.
Did anybody find out what's Beaumont strategy? They keep saying we're gonna keep the hospital open, we're gonna reopen it soon. And the other hand, they get rid of all their employees. They laid off people. They move doctors and nurses to other facility. Did any new news on that, Khalil?
No new news on it. I think, you know, in listening to the conversations with Beaumont, they're having significant layoffs. They have a large number of people. So the amount is very relative to the number of people they have. They're not doing it just from Wayne County facilities, although, you know, Beaumont Wayne seems to be getting hit pretty hard. It's from facilities that are in Oakland County and other counties as well. So I don't have any new update. The update that we did receive as early as yesterday is they still, and we received an update this morning in a conversation with Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. They still have plans to reopen Beaumont Hospital. They don't say publicly that they're going to close it down. So that's all we have for now.
Yeah, well, I never face organization not very crystal clear with their answer to any question the community or the leader of the community ask them without any explanation. And I think that it's disrespect to all the community they serve in Western Wayne County. I hope that message will get to them.
Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Baidoun, Commissioner Baidoun.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the subject of Beaumont, I read the news this morning. Obviously, it's sad news that they're laying off people, but this is the state of our time right now. But as far as Beaumont Wayne, I have talked to a lot of people who work inside Beaumont and they wish to remain anonymous. All indications are they'll probably never reopen this hospital. And if they do, it will be something different, maybe like a surgical center, like an outpatient surgery center. It is really sad that this community is going to lose a hospital. And I hope that they're not using COVID-19 as an excuse so they can implement what they had in mind all along. That's just my take on it, and I feel sorry for all the people that work there, and they're in limbo. They don't share, like you said, Mr. Chair, they don't share with you anything about their plans, and that's troubling.
Very troubling. And well, you know, we have that fight before with Oakwood facility when it was under Oakwood, and I think we thought Beaumont would be more crystal clear in answering the question, but I think they way worse. But it's not serving one community. That hospital serve more than 6-7 community. Most
Yes.
of my district, I have 7
Yeah.
municipality
Yeah.
and the 2 airport, the Metro and the Wooler Run. So all, you know, depend on that hospital, and they're not sharing with us or debating with us what they do and see if those community have something to address or need. And that trouble when you have an organization not willing to have a good communication with the communities they serve. So, well, we'll wait and see, and we'll deal with it as it comes.
Commissioner, I have a question, and maybe Khalil can answer this. Now,
Go ahead.
as you know, Khalil, when they apply, all the businesses, they apply for the PPP with the federal government, they cover their payroll, and most likely they're going to be forgiven this amount that they receive from the federal government. Like someone like Beaumont Wayne, or like today they're laying off 4,500. Why couldn't they keep all these people on the payroll and apply with the federal government, and knowing that this grant or this loan will probably be forgiven. It doesn't make sense to me. The last time I read, Khalil, that the hospitals are being allocated $75 billion from this package, the stimulus package.
So I think that's important to keep in mind that it's separate, right? The Paycheck Protection Program is for a business that is under 500 employees. Beaumont is certainly higher than that, so they wouldn't apply for the Payment Protection Program. But you're right in saying that the stimulus package, I believe, had, and I can't remember the exact number, I think it had up to $100 billion for hospitals, but that was nationwide. And so, Beaumont isn't the only, hospital going through these things. I agree with the chair. Folks could absolutely be more transparent with what is happening, right? But hospitals are going through a very, very difficult time right now across the country. And so I think even the hospitals are trying to get more money in the next stimulus package.
They've taken a real hit with some of the elective surgeries, as I understand it, right? Because COVID has kind of taken over. So some of their profits have gone by the wayside, and in that particular piece, being taken away has been problematic, as I understand it. Okay, let's go through this, finish this really quick. Next slide, please. We've only got 2 more slides, I think. And I want to be, okay, Wafa.
Yep. So I'm just going to go through some of the work we've been doing in the Guardian building. We have specially disinfected all of the county floors. We are looking at potentially when the stay-at-home order expires, potential plans on what we're going to do. Of course, we're going to follow the lead of the governor and the federal government, and of course what the health department says. But we're looking at requiring face coverings or masks for everybody, reducing the occupancy in the elevators because they're not very large, and we still want to maintain the 6 feet. And then asking screening questions of everybody who comes into the building and potentially taking their temperature to make sure they don't have a fever. We have already provided a hand sanitizer in all public spaces, and we intend to continue to do that once we reopen the facility.
Great, thank you. Next slide. Okay, so this falls in line with what Wafa was discussing. Because this is a health crisis as well as an economic crisis, we've got 2 storms together that fit into one another. We're working on a task force, workforce reentry task force. So the internal group is here. See, you have listed here Janelle Allen, Gerald Jones, Carol, Carlos, Sergio, myself. The external partners that I'm working with from the economic development piece is, you may have heard, Michigan Economic Recovery Council. That is Jerry Anderson of DTE, the hospital executives, Lear Corporation. Lear has plants in Wuhan, so they are ahead of us in terms of reopening and best practices. I'm happy to share a safe work playbook that they have come out with that we are looking to for guidance. While it's a plant safe work playbook, there's a lot of really good things in there. We're also working with our 11 counties region-wide. So some of the other counties will have different timing. They might be ahead of us as well, that are less harder hit. So we can, we're going to be sharing best practices with our 10 other 11 counties within the Detroit Regional Partnership. And then of course the state of Michigan through the governor's office, through Leo. Some of the resource, again, I mentioned was the Safe Work Playbook. That's been very interesting to see that come out, as well as I'm a member of International Economic Development Council, and there's a book they put out. It was actually in 2015, Leadership in Times of Crisis, but there's some really great information in there that we will utilize as well. So it's really taking economic development. How do we get our workforce back? How do we get our companies back with the health piece of it, right? It has to be safe. It has to be the right timing, and rolling all that out. But working together as, region-wide, statewide, with the different disciplines and entities here. So that's all we have, really. If there's any questions, we're happy to answer. We're available anytime. Our cell phones, our emails, please feel free to call me. You can go to the next slide. My contact information is listed here. And it's in your
Commissioner
packet.
Beck McCormick has a question.
Commissioner McCormick?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My emphasis has been on testing and the importance of testing. So as we reopen Wayne County and our building, you just talked about looking at someone's temperature. However, there is thousands of people that have the virus and they have no symptoms. They're asymptomatic. And have you thought, or has the executive thought about just testing before we come back to work for employees?
So that's a really good question, and those are all plans that the health department is currently working on. We don't think the governor's gonna open up in May, so I think we still have some time to roll that out, and I'm sure that the health department will be presenting something to you guys very, very soon.
So as you said, testing, tracing, and isolating are three key pieces to this whole thing. And as Wafa said, I know that we've been in calls with the health department looking at potential testing equipment or testing services to make that a piece of this as well. So as Wafa said, that's being worked on, and more information will come out as that becomes available. I know that the city of Detroit just mentioned, Mayor Duggan mentioned that the essential employees for Detroit can now be tested on the state fairgrounds. So we're in process, the health department is on that.
Right, and I'm actually looking a policy from Wayne County that mandates, and I know that's sticky and how you do that, but I think to be safe, I think we need to look at the possibility of having some policy in place.
I agree with you, Commissioner. I think what we need to do to be probably join the meeting with the Health and Human Resources next time they meet, because that would be addressed with the Health and Human Resources. That would be a very good idea for safety, to make sure everybody's safe. I agree with you 100%. And I hope the staff would carry on that question to the Health and Human Resources. Maybe we could get more information on what they do and what they prepare into the future.
Thank you, Mr.
Colleen,
Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Also, I'm Vice Chair of the Health and Human Services. So,
excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. That would help. Yeah.
Colleen, Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. We are taking this up tomorrow at Health and Human Services, and I will be in touch with you, Commissioner Baker McCormick, and we've developed a little what's going to be presented and what we're going to talk about. So this is definitely a topic that the department is preparing to discuss with us tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Great.
Excellent, Mr. Colleen. Excellent. Okay. Any other question?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
This is Ilona.
Yes.
I was wondering if we could get that web page or the address for hiring for VIBRA or for the hospital emailed to us, so that way we don't miss it. I know I have had quite a few calls myself for people from Beaumont wanting to come over and they want to apply and want to know how. So that would be very helpful. That's one. And two, I just wanted to make you aware that Ways and Means will be meeting at noon, and that site will be different than this one. So I'm not sure if you need the numbers for those members here so you could write it down, or you already have it, but I'll give it to you. 223-497-5895. We'll be meeting at noon.
Can you repeat
Let me
that?
repeat
Thank
that,
you.
please.
Can you repeat that?
223 223 497 5895.
Excellent. Any other question?
you.
Because we only have 5 minutes left for this meeting for the economic development. Any other questions? Seeing none, we move to the other item. Next item. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam the Clerk, next item.
E, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
There none came before me.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr.
this is,
Palamera.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under this item, I don't know if this is already being observed, but I have a request, please. And that's, as these minutes are being accounted for, because there's some challenges in getting into the meeting, I would hope that all commissioners, whether they're on this committee or not, that participate are shown as a participant by Zoom somehow during the meeting. And I would also request, because I have received some misguided and misinformed snarky comments by email of people saying that why is county employees being furloughed at full pay and doing nothing, which is an absolute ridiculous comment. Nevertheless, I would like to see those Wayne County employees that participate in these meetings also be shown in the minutes as participants in this meeting if they don't object to be shown as participants in this meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I really agree with you, Mr. Palamera, for 100% on that. And if any of the employee don't like to be shown attending the meeting, to let us know. If not, then we show everybody for the next meeting, at least in the economic development and all the other committee they decide. I hope we all decide the same. I think Madam the Chair, Alicia Bell, could speak on that in the full board meeting.
Yes, absolutely. We'll make sure that we go through and see if it's possible. I did inquire about that, if Zoom has the capability to identify the participants in the meeting, and Francesca and I are going through that now. So we'll definitely make that available to show everyone who participated and who chimed in on the Zoom meetings. Great idea, Commissioner Vice Chair Palamera. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good point. Any other remark? Madam the Clerk, next item.
F, public comments.
Anybody from the public like to comment? Anybody from the public like to comment? Anybody from the public like to comment? It's a 3 time. I didn't hear anybody, and I think we move to the next item.
Adjournment.
Motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved, Palamera.
Support Baydun.
Motion been made and supported. All those who agree signify by saying aye.
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 Oppose. Motion carries. We have finished the meeting by 11:58. As I promised, Madam the Chair, we done it in a good time. Thank you, everybody, and till the next one, stay safe and God bless you all.
Hey, Al, real quick, is this next meeting the same code, access code as this past meeting?
No. No.
Okay, I'll find it. I'll find it.
We'll send it to you. We'll make.
Yes.
It's 2.
Yep, go ahead.
3.
Yep.
223 497 5895.
Got it. Okay.
See you there in a minute.
Okay. Thank you.
I know, Joe, you've been traveling very well. I see you in Washington today. I see you in Detroit, and I don't know where the next one.
This is as close to the Guardian building as I can get, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Joe. You're always close to everybody.
You're my man. Thanks. Bye.
Okay, if no other comment, good to hear from you, everybody. Stay safe and hopefully keep the whole nation in your prayer. Thank you.